You want to know what's awesome? Really good games. You want to know what's really awesome? Probably the same thing. Probably should have thought about something actually important to say other than something random and weird, but you want to know what actually is really awesome? Going into anything and doing it for the first time is always something that you can say is nice. Now, the PlayStation 3, it almost feels like it's taking over again. It has had a resurgence, and a large one. You always see all over the internet, if you're looking in the gaming scene at least for me. Maybe I'm just looking in the right place. Maybe it's just I'm not looking in a place that a lot of other people are looking. When it comes to what is somebody's favorite console to play, even in it's basically 2025 at this point, let's just get that out of the way. It is, I think, 3 days away from that year. And one thing that still is really cool, oh god, I said cool again. One thing that left the door open. My cat is randomly, this is weird, came in the room and scared the hell out of me. I didn't know what was crawling up my leg for a second. So the very first time I went back and played PS3 Online was last year. It was probably almost exactly a year ago, almost to the day. It was, I believe, in January of 2024. And I think I was just completely oblivious to even this was still a thing as in any game still ran on this. I just assumed if anyone was not even really paying attention to anything from older generations, you would maybe assume that every server for every game has no longer been a thing forever now. So I go back, I see that there are many games still working. Call of Duty, the good ones too. Good Call of Duty games still going up. Red Dead Redemption, games that were beloved from everybody at one point were working again, or still. I don't know if they went away and came back or they just always did. The PlayStation 3 is already good. You don't even need to play online to really enjoy it. This is that generation. Play anything you want, you'll like it. Play a story game, play online. I guess that's really it. But once you do a bit of internet searching, as in good internet searching, not doom scrolling something that's just gonna put you in the damn corner of the room scared to death or something, actually good internet searching, you will find information that gives you a lot of information, and it will point you in the direction of where you can find a lot of PlayStation 3 games that are still up and running, and there's a community around them. It doesn't even have to do with if it's just still going. If the servers never left or went away and came back, there are communities bringing games back in general. At this point in my life, I can't really imagine anything better than this. I mean, I thought to myself, I might actually just go on PlayStation 5 and see if there's really any really fun multiplayer games, as in, you know, first-person shooters or just whatever the most popular game is, right? Like if you go on Twitch or something, you see the most popular games are just the ones with the most viewership. And then it's like, all right, well, this one must be fun or something. I don't know what's happening. I try to play PlayStation 5 multiplayer games sometimes because, I mean, it just sits there on my desk. I feel like I should use it a lot. I mean, we all paid a lot of money for the PlayStation 5. It's basically turned into a lava lamp on everybody's desk at this point. It just sits there. So I try to go back and play some games sometimes, even some games that may not have been the best when they first released or something, like Battlefield 2042. I was not even, I don't know. I honestly don't know what to say. There's certain generations that if you go back and play multiplayer games, this is one of them where it actually feels fun. Every single one, too. Games I normally wouldn't even probably ever pick up if I walked into a store. This is weird because I don't know if this is this just a thing where this is the change on Earth? Because usually when a generation ends, when any generation ends, they look forward to the next one, then the next one comes, and then it's just, let's stay with this one. Now it's common to go back and play other things and avoid the new stuff because what the hell's happening over here? I honestly can't believe my eyes right now. I may have gotten this to work. This is easily, and I think I mean this statement, this is probably the best thing I've ever seen. You know, Warhawk is, what the hell just happened? This game is actually one of the most legendary PlayStation 3 multiplayer games in my opinion. Like, this goes back pretty early in the PS3 cycle, so it's just one of those ones that people may even forget about. I didn't. So this didn't work at first. I was having a lot of troubles getting into an actual game over here, and then it finally did. I did come across a Reddit page, and it was saying that if you create your own local games, or at least a bunch of them, you just basically have to create a bunch of local games until they don't freeze anymore, because that's a problem I was having. I think there might be, I don't know if it's just, well, it seems like other people are having it. So if you create a bunch of local games, you'll get into one of them, and then I think you can back out and then get into an actual public game where there's people. Can I get into a vehicle over here? I'm just basically running around. I'm just so happy right now. I can't even... Oh, there's somebody in this. There is so much carnage taking place. This guy just took my jet. So when this game first released, it was definitely, I would say, probably one of the best multiplayer games to play on this system, in my opinion. I mean, that's just my opinion. It was one of the most fun. Think about this. You can do so many things in this. You can run around like an idiot, like I'm doing. There's people everywhere. Wow, this is actually incredible right now. I can't even really believe... this is kind of like one of those moments in life that happens where you don't even really know what emotion to feel because you just don't know how to feel. You just don't know if this is the craziest thing you've ever seen, if it's insane. Well, it is insane. If it's amazing in every aspect of everything, or it's just, well, that only probably. There's nothing else to say. RPCS3 is getting a lot better, and I'm starting to actually understand that now. I feel like at first I didn't know how well or how much better it was getting, but now I might know. The fact that these online games are working, and these are just some of the best multiplayer games too. This isn't... Call of Duty is one thing, old Call of Duty that is. That's fun to play. There's nothing boring about that. But then when you get to actually play games like Warhawk, we are in 2020. This is basically 2025 at this point. You don't even need to say 2024 anymore. It's basically done. It's over. 2025 and Warhawk, that's almost 20 years old, is working. And it's not even because of the actual main servers are up still. It's because of the fantastic people over there at PS1 bringing back this greatness. Wow, I'm more useless than a lamp inside of an ice cream shop right now. I can't even get out of spawn. If I try to get into a vehicle, I'm dead. Yeah, there might be some minor problems, or if you want to call that a major problem, minor problem, I don't know what it is. It's probably something that hopefully can be, maybe it's just a map thing. The sky is flickering and doing a bunch of weird things. Maybe that's something that's only on specific maps. Maybe it's just the game is not able to run the best on RPCS3, but I don't even know if I care. Unfortunately, what team am I on? Well, I think this is just unfortunately a thing where you do have to deal with kind of the flickering going on in the air. That's probably a thing, unfortunately, in this game in RPCS3, RPCN. So maybe that can be fixed at some point. That would be awesome. But regardless of if it can be or not, this is still awesome. Oh, I feel like I'm having an advantage over here, and now I'm getting shot. Please tell me we had those, like, did I kill anyone? I was in the air for maybe 10 minutes, or it was like 10 seconds, and I didn't kill anybody. Please. What is really nice about this is you can actually go to the RPCS3 website if you want to see the amount of games you can play on this. Now, this is just the full list of all the games you can possibly play on this. I say possibly because right now there's 69.53%. That may have even gone up since the last time I checked, and that may have only been 2 weeks ago or something. It may continue to go up. Even games that have the in-game tab thing next to it, or just the yellow in-game marker, which is, I can barely see that from here. So what this is this is basically the full lineup of games you can play on this. And this doesn't have anything to do with online or anything. This is, or maybe, but this is just the whole list. If you want to just play a single player or something, this is where you go to see. It's rpcs3.net. I'm not showing the top because I wanted to get it as close to the screen as possible. I know I could zoom in. I realized that after I started recording, but I'm not doing this again because I muted my mic by accident. And I was talking for maybe 5 minutes before I realized my mic was muted. So if I touch anything, it'll probably explode. This place will turn into a firework factory if I touch anything else again. So this is basically where this is. So this is just the main compatibility list. If you want to be able to play games online via RPCS3, then you can go to the RPCN compatibility list, and this will give you which games you need to possibly mess around with. Like, I know there's games where you maybe need to change maybe the DNS thing around or the IP address where it's, yes, the game will work, but you need to adjust that to be able to get into the servers. Like that was the case for Warhawk. All you had to do was that and you were able to go in. You did have to get whitelisted on their Discord too. It'll give you all the info. If you find out which specific community is hosting these servers or something, it's pretty easy to find out all the information, like if they have a Discord or something. So there's a lot of information to find out which games can work, which games won't, and this can either make you very sad or happy, because looking at this, you will get happy when you see which games can possibly run on this, and then some games it'll be sad. It'll be very disappointing. You'll be sitting there spitting all over the keyboard because you won't be happy to see one of your favorite games will not be able to be will not be able to be played. Does that make sense? Will not able to be played online, and that's not good, but hopefully it will at some point. Like the only Call of Duty that is somewhat capable apparently is Call of Duty 3, and you have to change the cross-region play, or never mind. That was something that I shouldn't even have bothered saying, but there's actually a lot of games you can play. It's not just a couple. The main problem is you just need to find people on. That was where I was at, because I was able to get on the servers and everything for specific games on RPCS3, and there was nobody on. I think I was on Tekken 5. There was a couple other ones actually. I tried maybe even almost 10 games on RPCS3, and I only got one of them, or not to work, to find people. I was the only human being that was on the game, I think, at that point in time. So it's just... yeah, it's just the fact that they still work, and if you can find a community to play with, it will function well. That's insane in its own way, because if you do find people to play with, it'll be something where we're going back in time 15 years and playing things we never thought we were going to play again. So there's a huge list. Anyway, this is just the information. If you want to find out how to play this, because you might think if you don't have a PlayStation 3 in your house or something, then you'd think you might not be able to do this. So for system requirements, it is the minimum and recommended. So unfortunately, if you have, like what I have this probably bare-ass bones laptop from Best Buy that will probably explode if I tried to run this emulator on it. But if you already play games on your PC, or if you have some crazy-ass PC or something that you play games on already, this will most likely definitely run quite well. This is all on rpcs3.net, and there's a bunch of tabs at the top that'll let you know where everything is at. This is something I just figured out not even that long ago. The fact that RPCS3 was even a living thing, and then you can actually play games online with it. That just almost made me fall to the ground. I may have legitimately almost burnt my steak from just thinking about this, and I still messed up the cooking. You can nail a medium rare steak. You're talented. Either blue raw or just basically tree bark by the time I'm done with it. All right, so sometimes you run into a problem, and that's okay. Now, the point of this is yes, there may be nobody on this game right now. Obviously, these games are not even close to heavily populated or anything. There's probably maybe a handful of people on some of these, even when they are the most populated. There's nobody on. It's just nobody. Everybody on planet Earth besides me is not playing right now. So this is basically it. If you're dumb like me, then basically what happens is you go on games without really realizing what they are. I tried to go on Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012. You have to be connected to the EA servers to be able to play that, which I don't know if that's even possible with this. Maybe it is. I don't know. It just basically loaded up and then told me I could not connect to them. I am just basically sitting here in my room doing nothing tonight other than trying to find other lobbies. This game's actually kind of fun. I've never played it before. This, you can actually start the game up. Some games you go on, you can't even start them up if there's no one else, like Call of Juarez, I think that's how it's pronounced. You can't even start that if you have just yourself inside of it. So this game you can actually still play. So this might just be a time where it's not a good time. So I almost completely forgot to say probably the most important thing at this point, but to what? I don't even know what I was going to say on that. But if you want to set it up, it's quite simple. You just open up RPCS3 and then go down to RPCN. You make your account. That's actually, I can't do it again because I already have one, I don't think. Pick your own ID and then you have to link it to an email. It'll send you a token, then you confirm it. And make a password. It's very easy. Some things I go into it, I'm almost sweating before I go into it because I'm so scared thinking it's going to be difficult, but this was very easy. Once you do that, you just need to go into your network settings. Oh my god, I'm just saying random things now. Connected, it will be on disconnected probably if you haven't touched it yet. So you go to connected, you change this to RPCN. If you need to connect to a specific IP address or something like Warhawk, you can't, I don't think you can do it if you just go to the default settings. You actually have to right click on the game and then go into it from that way. So there's really nothing more easy than this. I don't know. Maybe there is. You can do this not just on the PlayStation 3 emulator. You can just do this on an actual system where you just change your DNS. So for SOCOM Confrontation, which I've never played before in my life, I had to connect to a custom DNS that they give you on their website. It tells you all the information you need to know to how to sounds like a windshield wiper fluid or something, but this is one of the games they do have available to play. It's not like thousands of people or something, but there definitely is something that you can just join almost right away. At least at the time I'm playing on a weekend. I don't know if that's just a thing where you have to play on a weekend, but once you do connect and just basically go to the, what I did is I went to the custom match tab and just looked for the actual channels, and then it gave you 2 channels. One of them had nobody in it, it seems like, and then one of them had 44, and then you just pick a match. There is other ways to be able to play these games if you don't have the RPCS3 emulator, or if you just don't want to get it. It's actually kind of crazy, to be honest with you, because when and how did this all happen? For one, because I was kind of unaware of this. I did know that PlayStation 3 games were still going for the most part, or some of them, like Call of Duty and everything. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that series is kind of common to go back and play, or I don't know how common it is. It's probably the most common game to play if you went back and played from this generation, but other games like this, especially ones where there's a custom server and everything, so that's even more impressive. There's actually other games too where you don't even need a custom server. Like I was playing Payday 2. You just go into it from connecting to the internet and starting the game, moving my hands around like I'm conducting the tuba section or something, but there's really nothing that confusing about it. You can even be the most fecal of fecal matters going into one of these modes, and it's okay. It's still fun. I mean, at this point in time, if I can just leave the toothpaste inside of the tube cleanly, then everything is going all right. So kind of the fun thing about this is I'm sitting here trying games I've never played before and just playing them for the first time. I feel like they just released. Payday 2 I've never played before in my life. That worked immediately, like it was right away. Instant joining of games. Resident Evil 5 was the same thing. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is actually kind of weird because if it's freezing in like the intro scene or whatever, you have to do this method where you sign out of your PSN account, join or start the game. Join is clearly not the right word. You just open the game up and then you go into a local game, and then once you join the local game, you quit out of it, and then you can join a game that way publicly. I may never play an EA game again, or at least maybe, depending on what it is, but if it's just a game that I'm not really sure about and I just see or something and it's like, oh, I might try that eventually. No, I'm not doing it. I'm tired of it. And EA is the developer, publisher, whatever the hell it is, and you have to sign into your EA account or your EA Origins account or something to get in. I don't even know what game I was playing. There was one game I was playing, it had to do with EA. I had to sign into it or something, and I had to basically renew my password. I go into it, I try to play Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012. It's telling me to sign in. I'm using the same email, same password, says it doesn't work. All right, well, burn in hell then. It is unbelievably shocking that some of these PlayStation 3 games work. Is it? I don't know. If you were to look at me in the eyes and tell me that Resident Evil 5 was still a game that worked in multiplayer, I probably would have been like, what the hell is that? Because I've never played it before. If this gets to the point where it does become something where almost all, or just a lot of games, I don't know if it's ever going to be possible that you can get like most of the games working or something, but if you just have a lot of games that work where you can actually still play the multiplayer for them, then it is going to be one of the most insane things I think planet Earth has ever seen. I would rather use my winter boot as a gravy ladle than to probably play some of these PlayStation 5 games online like Fortnite or something at this point. I just feel like I'm getting yelled at by a 12-year-old every time I play it. I just don't feel right on that game. I just feel like every time I'm on that game, I'm just angering children. I feel like I should never play that game again. I'd screw around on Fortnite. Someone's getting very angry at me because I'm not doing the right thing. I don't even like playing that game. And then if you play Call of Duty now or something, it just depresses you. I don't know. It just feels like that's just a thing that I have now. I might have a problem. Is this a common feeling? I don't know if it's probably the most uncommon feeling ever, that you go into some of these newer games and feel like you'd just rather death. You know, this may have just been, again, I don't know, I feel like I should start really writing things down to talk about, because sometimes it's almost over and I just think to myself, did anything in this make any sense? You know, for someone like myself who just kind of realized that this is a thing again, not even just that PS3 is still incredible, games are still fun. I may have heard of these things before. Maybe I heard of emulation. I've heard people say that word before and I was like, what's that? I just never got around to trying to do anything with it. And then you realize that it is amazing and it's like, all right, well, I wish my brain worked, because if it did, I would have heard somebody say that and actually tried to do something about it. PlayStation 3 is still good. It's fun. It's very fun, actually. Games are still unbelievable. Payday 2, I was having the most fun probably I've had in many, many months playing an online game. I'm telling you right now, that was amazing. And I can still play it on PS3. I think you can even play that on RPCN too, not even just the actual console. These are still going. And I really hope they just never go away. I just don't know if what have I done lately? I'm just trying to think now. What have I done lately where I've had more fun than going back and playing some of these PS3 games, even 360 games, anything. PS2, anything where I've gone back and played, especially online. Well, that was probably a depressing way to end this.